Hello and welcome to the very first Moviesandbox tutorial. In this tutorial I'll quickly show you how to create your own characters for Moviesandbox. And for that we'll start Moviesandbox. Version 1370 should be the one that you should start. And we click on Voxel Editor, which actually is the name for the character editor. And I'll just quickly go and explain to you how the interface works. We have a number of buttons down here, and the green thing that we have here is basically our brush. With this brush I can paint things and erase things, and it also automatically selects what bone I am painting on. So this here is the standard Unreal Tournament bone structure that I can paint on, and as you can see, depending on where my brush is, it switches to different bones. Now let's start from the beginning. This here is the system button. You can load or save characters, create a new character, or return to the main menu. The second button actually sets your brush size. When you hold and drag this little ruler here, left and right, it sets your brush size. The next button is a color field, and when you left click on it you select it, which is kind of boring because it's black right now. But if you right click on it, there's a wonderful little palette popping up, and there you can select the color you'd like. Right now I'm going to select the skin tone like this, and obviously you can do that with the other color buttons as well. Like for example, we can select different colors here that we might need later on when creating our characters. Right. After the color buttons, there are two buttons that are kind of still experimental. As you can see, there are different lines here and numbers, and they represent a ruler plane, basically. It's the plane on which you draw, because Unreal is a 3D engine. You can actually draw in 3 dimensions. And with these two buttons here, you can actually move and rotate the ruler plane. Now I would advise you to not use these in the beginning, because there are still some things that don't really work with them. You can experiment with them on your own, but for now we'll just leave them alone. So yeah, let's start with painting a little bit. I will quickly change the brush size to something like this, and then just move my mouse over to the head bone and start drawing a little head like this, and I'll just paint it here. Right. Now if I want to draw hair, and I want to draw, like, let's say I want to draw hair that's a little bigger, you can see that when I move my mouse it automatically tries to distribute the hair to the upper arms, which is something that I don't want. So in order to lock the bone selection to the bone that I'm currently over, I'll just press and hold the shift button. Now with the shift button pressed and holding, I can move my mouse and the bone selection doesn't change anymore. That way I can start to slowly draw my hair, and I'm actually going to use a bigger brush to fill this. And I press and hold shift again, and as you can see, I can paint my hair and everything will be attached to the head of this character. Right. Now after the hair, I'll just quickly go and paint a neck. Just a very quick thing I'm going to do. Oh, that was actually a bit too much. With the right mouse button I deleted that. I'm going to change my brush here, and I'm gonna fix to the neck here again to paint it, and then I'll select a different color, and I'll just paint a very rough body and maybe some t-shirt arms over here, and then select the skin tone again, and this is actually a bit too small. Now like this, and I'll just paint some arms over here, and I'll just paint some hands, and I'll hold the shift key again so that I can paint like more fluffy hands. And here I'm going to paint some hands as well. Right, there we go. Fill this, delete this one. And now for the legs, you can see that they reach all the way down, and you can't really paint all the way down. So what we're going to do is we have to switch to fly mode. Just like in the scene editor that we're going to look at in the next tutorials, you can switch between painting and clicking and actually flying around your set by pressing the Alt key once. So I press the Alt key once now, and nothing really changes in the picture, but when I start to move my mouse, you see that I'm not moving the brush anymore, but I'm actually a spectator inside this environment, and I can move around by using the W, A, S, and D keys, just like in Unreal Tournament. And I can also move up and down using the crouch and jump keys. Right. When I'm satisfied with what I look at, I can actually hit the Alt key again once to go back to my brush. And so let me just paint some trousers for this guy. And again, it's trying to do an okay job with the distributing of the bones. But if you want to, you can help it by pressing and holding the Shift key. Right. And then the other leg like this, and back up. Okay. And now I'm kind of finished. I mean, you know, I could spend a lot more time here, but I think you kind of got the point. So I want to save my character. And the way I do this is I click on the system menu, and then on the small arrow that points towards the disk. And then I get a list of characters that have already been saved. Because I didn't have a character already saved, there's only one button that says Create New. And I click on the button, and then I delete what's the characters in there, and then I type the name of my character, for example, Bob. And then I hit the Enter key, and then Bob was saved. So now we created our first character, and we'll go back to the main menu, and from here I'll show you what you can do with your character in the next tutorial. Thanks.